finally, DXY decided to move last week. We got a nice candle up after a long time of range. You can see a long series of sideways movement. You can see. For me, this move helped me to capitalize on pair like pound USD. I was able to make some profit. I will show you in front of the screen, the screenshot of my trade on pound USD. Yeah, thanks to NFP. If I pull up the Forex Factory calendar, you can see NFP prints a pretty good report. So we had 172,000 jobs added, which is more than expected because we expect around 85,000. So you can see we also have a revised number, which has been revised up. So yeah, pretty good report. Unemployment neutral is the same. So yeah, the grid number was the NFP. So that's why we had to observe this move. So thank you to NFP. Thank you to my patience because during all these sideways movement, I was be patient. I was not trading, just waiting a signal to get in the trade. So my last weekly market outlook, I'm talking about waiting price to a discount zone before buy or buying at the breakout. It seems like it is the second scenario which play out very well. So yeah, pretty good good position for me. So let's talk about with this strong report on NFP. Let's talk about for the upcoming week. What important news do we have next week? Nothing on Monday, Tuesday. We could potentially have some volatility on Wednesday with the CPI on US dollar. We need to pay attention on this news CPI. This will be very interesting to see. Remember, we still have the conflict in the Middle East, so I would not be surprised if the CPI prints a hot inflation or something about around the expected number, 4.2%. So pay attention to that. We have at the same day we have interest rate on Canadian dollar. Interesting. Thursday, the important news will be in Eurozone. Also, we also have the interest rate on Eurozone. Interesting. What's the next monetary policy statement from the ECB? Seems like they expect to hike rates. So you see, this is the consequence of the conflict in the Middle East. So many central banks start to hike rates. So yeah, very interesting to see. And then we have Friday. On Friday, the last day of the week, I will pay attention on the growth data. I mean the gross domestic product on the United Kingdom. So let's go back and prepare this week. Let's analyze the DXY. So on DXY, what do we have? We still have this, or we are in monthly time frame. So monthly time frame, I'm still bullish from this low to this high. Clearly, we still have our demand zone right there, which is holding price. Okay, so with the strong report of NFP from the NFP, we started to see some bullish movement. So but don't forget on weekly time frame, we are still in this range. Okay, so the real question will be, are we going to finally break this level, this resistance that reject price many times? This is the question we need to ask or we need to see on the upcoming week. So let's go down to the daily. The daily, as I said, I'm bullish from this low to this high. You can see price retrace perfectly around the discount zone. We retest this demand zone twice before starting to break to the upside. Okay, so that's clear that the price wants to go up. Okay, so let's go down to the daily. So on daily, look, on daily, what do we have? We still have this level which is holding price for a long time. See, a lot of range. So for me, I was expecting a little bit of retrace on my last weekly market outlook before buying properly the DXY, but it seems like sometimes price don't want to go even lower. So my signal was a break and retest before enter this market. So with the help of the NFP report, I was able to enter here. Okay. So for the next week, I'm still bullish. I'm still bullish on DXY, but I really need to pay attention what's how price will react around this level. This will be very interesting for me. So I got the trade on pound USD. Once price reached there, of course, we were the last day of the week Friday, so I don't want to hold trade over week. So I got my trade here, around here. So I'm prepared for the next week. For the next week, what do I expect? I expect at least, or I want to see some kind of retracement around this level before continue higher. So there is another possibility that price decide to break directly, take this low, this high, or reject this high before we can see a huge retracement to the downside. So, but yeah, with the inflation is high, the dollar still acting as a safe haven. Yeah, I want to see the continuation. I'm bullish on DXY. Okay. The next pair is EURUSD. So being bullish on USD dollar. So for me, I want to be bearish on EURUSD. So on EURUSD, you can see price is at a premium zone. You see this premium zone of this monthly structure. We retrace here. We are in premium. So for me, it's pretty much obvious, or that I want to see a sell-off from this zone. And the fact that I'm talking about this channel for a very long time at the beginning of the year, 2026, we are overbought on EURUSD. So I want to see long term a little bit of sell off, at least around this 50% mark of the channel. So yeah, the plan is still going on. So it's still playing out. So yeah, next target will be this level on monthly time frame. Let's go down to the weekly. Weekly, we are still bullish from this low to this high, but we could potentially see some sort of retracement towards a discount zone here. Okay, on daily time frame. So on daily time frame, the structure is already bearish, as you can see. High, low, we break this level, so we are bearish. We retrace around the premium zone, and now we started to see a bearish structure, bearish order flow forming. Okay, so clear, we are bearish on daily. So for me, for the next week, what I want to see is some sort of retracement around this this level somewhere here before continuation, or if price decide to retrace even higher, I could wait price around the monthly open somewhere here before continue lower. But yeah, you can already see I am still bearish. I want to see at least target this level. Okay, just need a little bit of retracement somewhere here to target the low. Okay, so on 4 hour, what else to say? I want to say same thing. I mark up this channel. Yeah, so we already at the bottom of the channel. So this channel just helped me to to position myself to see, are we oversold, are we overbought, so as we are at the bottom of the channel. So I expect some retracement maybe above the 50% mark of the channel somewhere here to start to take my trade to the downside. Okay, so that's pretty much it what I am looking on USD. I want to sell for the upcoming weeks. The next one is pound USD. So on pound USD, we are bearish on monthly time frame from this high to this low. We have retraced around discount zone, or premium zone, excuse me. We start to range a little bit, but has like the Euro USD, I want to see some setup because we are in a premium zone of the monthly structure. Okay, so let's go down to the weekly. My weekly structure start here. My last weekly structure starts from this low to this high, clearly, because we pretty much break this high. So but price starts, if you really pay attention, we start to range in between this level. Okay, so yeah, that's why I will consider this as my weekly low, and this is my weekly high. Okay, so expect some retracement. If I measure this last weekly order flow, maybe I want to see some setup around the 50% mark somewhere here. But first target will be, of course, this low somewhere here, and then if we break this low, we could potentially continue to the downside. But this will depend on the DXY, what the DXY want to do. If the DXY continue to to rise, so we could expect the pound USD to drop. Okay, so yeah, weekly time frame, next target for the upcoming week will be somewhere here. Okay, so let's go down to the daily. So on daily time frame, what we could observe is, yeah, we could say, if we want to not pay attention to the ranging structure in weekly time frame, we could say this is my daily order flow. You see, because we pretty much close above this high, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so the origin of this move is from this low to this high. So I would say we are bullish between these levels. So any point in between will be internal low or 4 hour structure. Okay, so um if I focus on 4 hour, we will see that we already broke this structure. So this is my structure. So yeah, I'm still bearish from this high to this low. So yeah, for the next week, same direction, want to target this level or even this level. Okay, so what I need to do, or I need to see, is for the upcoming some sort of retracement around this supply zone before continue lower. Okay, that's pretty much my plan on the pound. Okay, the next one is Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar lose a little bit of strength during the past couple of weeks because we observe some, I would say, some weakness. Aussie start to weak because the growth start to slow in Australia. If I go back, for example, on the Forex Factory, the previous week, I think we had a bad data on growth. The gross domestic product on Australia comes out very weak than expected, you can see. So that caused a little bit of weakness on Aussie. And by the way, I took another position on, I was able to trade EURUSD instead of pound Aussie, for example, because euro was very strong because they want ECB want to hike rates. We have a hawkish tone on Central Bank of Europe, and in the other side, we start to see a little bit of slowness in growth in Aussie. So that's fundamental side allows me to take some position on euro. I will show in the screenshots some of my position I took. Let's go back to Aussie. So Aussie dollar on monthly. So on Aussie, what do we see? So on monthly time frame, we are bearish from this high to this low. So anything in between is some sort of range, but until we finally break this high. So you see the structural shift right there. So it seems like we start to retrace a little bit. As I said, bad numbers on growth data on Aussie. This start to push the Aussie to the downside. Okay, Aussie dollar to the downside. So we kind of like reject this high. So for me, the next target we obviously be this level right there. Okay, so let's go down to the weekly. So the weekly is still bullish from this low to this high. So maybe we could see some retracement of this trend. So maybe we could drop even lower in a discount price. We will see. If I zoom in, yeah, we kind of like have imbalance right there where we could potentially target for the upcoming week. Okay, so let's go down to the daily. So on daily time frame, we have this trend, you can see. So yeah, it seems like we start to break this trend line. So but we are still bullish from this low to this high, but I will not exclude that price could potentially continue to drop even lower around this imbalance right there. So what I want to see for the next week is simple, because I am bullish on dollar. I want to see some retracement somewhere here before continuation, or even a sharp, not a sharp, a shallow retracement around this level before continue lower to target this level. Okay, so let's go down to the 4 hour. The 4 we already have a 4 hour structure bearish, so it's pretty good. So as I said, want to see some retracement or even higher somewhere here around the point of control will be a nice spot to continue to sell this market. See, we still have some room to target this low. Okay, yes, bearish, also bearish on Aussie. Okay, the next one is Kiwi dollar. So this pair is more ranging than Aussie. You can see a lot of sideways movements. So even though we go down on weekly, we can see my last weekly structure will start from here to here. On in between, we still have a sideways movement. You see, so yeah, I don't like this type of sideways movement because yeah, this not help me to define a proper trend on a forex pair. Okay, so let's go down to the daily. Same thing, the daily, I don't really see a trend because if I, for example, if I take these swing points, you can see we never break above this high. You see, if we had this type of high, then I will consider we have a beginning of a trend, but this is not the case. Price never break this high and never break this low, so we are in between. For me, on daily time frame, I don't have a trend, so that's why I will more focus on a 4 hour trend, so a short-term 4 hour trend. So for example here you can see the 4 hour just switch bearish with the break of this low. So for me, I will be very interested in this pair if we retrace around this zone or even this imbalance right there to start to short the Kiwi dollar to the downside. Okay, even though we didn't get this, or we don't get this type of retracement right there, price could decide to drop straight. But I think if I go back to a higher time frame, we have some sort of demand right there. This is where we could find a signal in lower time frame to start to buy again this pair. So yeah, a little bit of range, but in this type of condition, we need to sell high and buy low. Simple as that. If when we don't have type this direction, excuse me. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much my plan on this pair. So, but the plan I prefer the most is some sort of retracement in this in premium zone before selling this pair. Okay, that's my plan on KB dollar. The next one is USD yen. So on USD yen, we are bullish. Clearly, we want to target this high. So on monthly time frame, let's go down to the weekly. Weekly time frame, we start to form higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So the trend is still bullish for me. We still want to target this high. So let's go down to the daily. When I zoom in, the daily order flow is bullish from this low to this high. So look how we retrace perfectly around the 50% mark of this movement, or 50% of the Fibonacci, as you already know, or discount zone. This is where price decides to reverse again, you see. So we start to have a very, very strong trend without even giving us a retracement to enter. So I don't like this type of trend, because when we don't have some sort of retracement, for me, it's very difficult, or I mean, the way I trade is very difficult to enter this type of trend. Okay, but I will not deny that the trend is still up with the strength of the USD dollar. We and the weakness on the Japanese yen is pretty clear that price want to continue up. But for me to enter this type of trend, I really need some sort of a retracement in discount zone, some sort of retracement around here, somewhere here, before getting engaged in this trade. And if price decide to go high, I will not engage in this. Why? Because we're starting to reach extreme high, extreme level, which is always a zone where we could potentially have a Bank of Japan intervention. If you want to trade it, but don't forget, intervention is around the corner. So at any moment, um, this pair could reverse, and I will not be surprised if price don't give me some discount price and decide, for example, to go even higher. I will not be surprised if we see some sort of huge or crazy retracement after taking this or rejecting this high. So this is where, yeah, as soon as we are approaching this high, I will stay away, because at any moment Bank of Japan will intervene. Okay, so but the direction is up. But for me, USD yen is not a pair that I will be interested on this week. But if you give me some discount points, I will maybe decide reconsider to enter. If not, I will stay away and let the price do what it wants to do. Okay. The next pair is USDCAD. So on USDCAD monthly time frame, we are bullish from this low to this high clearly. So on weekly time frame, we are also bullish from this low to this high. Look how price hold pretty much on this level, on this demand zone, you see. So price decides to reject a third time. So for me, with the strength of the US dollar, it's pretty obvious that we want to target these highs or this supply zone right there. So yeah, I'm still bullish on USD CAD. So let's go down to the daily. Daily, it seems like we already break this level, see. So yeah, seems like we are bullish. We retrace around again this demand zone, and a lot of buyer enter here again. So yeah, the direction is still high. So for the next week, I want to target these highs, as I said, and potentially this supply zone right there. Okay, so let's go down to the 4 hour. So on 4 hour, yeah, I already mark up my trade idea. So for me, for this week, this is, by the way, my 4 hour structure. So from this low to this current high, we are bullish. So as long as we are not breaking this low, I'm still bullish on USD CAD. So what I want to see for this upcoming week is a retracement, a discount point, or even here to get in this trade. Okay, somewhere here will be a nice point to enter in buy position. So that's pretty much my plan. If I don't get it, maybe at the beginning of the week, price decide to go straight at the beginning of the week, and maybe at the end of the week we could anticipate some sort of retracement. But this type of trade will be a counter trade, because the 4 hours is up, The daily structure is up, and we also have the weekly structure is up. So all my time frame is bullish, pointing in bullish position. So for me, trying to catch a sell trade will be a counter trade, and I try to eliminate or avoid many as possible counter trade in my trading from the last year. So and I can assure you that it helped me a lot on my profitability. So for me, I rather prefer taking a trade on buy on the direction on discount point rather than take a counter trade. Okay, if I would really want to take a counter trade, that's the last decision. Maybe I don't see any trade in other pairs. That's why I really it's like the plan B. So yeah, I will take it at the last position. But as I said, I will prefer a retracement at discount point to be able to get into this trade. Okay, I'm still bullish on USDCAD. The next one is USDCHF. So on USDCHF monthly time frame, we are bearish from this high to this low. We pretty much break this structure, this level. So yeah, we are bearish on monthly time frame. On weekly time frame, same, bearish from this high to this low. So maybe expect some sort of retracement around this zone. I'm not sure if we can retrace around here because of the safe character of the Swiss, the franc Swiss. So at any moment, price could drop. So yeah, that's why I'm not very optimistic that we could get around the discount of the weekly order flow. Okay, this weekly leg. Okay, so but considering that I'm bullish on USD dollar right now, on daily I want to find some bullish price. So on daily you can see this is my daily structure because we break this level, so we have some sort of structure like this. So we retrace around premium zone, we reject one time, but we price could not able to break again this low, so we reverse up again. So yeah, I think if I zoom in on 4 hour, I will be bullish because the dollar is bullish. Want to target at least this high for the upcoming week. So I am bullish from this low to this current high. So what I want to see is some sort of retracement, maybe around this. Let me zoom in. You see this imbalance? If we could get some retracement down there, I would be able to enter. Even though we retrace even lower, this will be very interesting because we have the point of control from the last week here, or this demand zone here will be very interesting. Stop just below here to be able to target the high. So bullish on USD CHF, but we really want to wait some precise entry on this pair. Okay, and then let's finish with the precious metal. So precious metal, we are on sell-off mode, I would say, because silver and gold start to sell off. And the reason why silver and gold start to sell off is because of inflation. Yes, you hear it, inflation. If, for example, before I analyze the precious metals, let me pull out the US oil. So US oil, this is US oil. Let's go down daily. You can see US oil is still in a range. You see, we are in a range from the beginning of the conflict in the Middle East. We can see we price is ranging around $100 barrel. So as long as we are ranging around this price $100, yeah, this is still elevated for the price of horse and still bring inflation. And we know that we already have consequence of this long period of conflict in the Middle East, because it's not like we are seeing some kind of resolution. It seems like this conflict is gonna continue, but how long we don't know. But it's very bad indication or for economy globally. So this bring inflation, and when we have some concern about inflation, central banks want to hike rates or maintain a high interest rate. So hiking rate is not always good for precious metal. We also have, I think, Bitcoin start to drop. If I'm not mistaken, we have S&P drop. You see S&P drop. We have Nasdaq drop. If I pull out the Bitcoin also is dropping. So yeah, it's not yeah, a lot of people moving their, we are pretty much in risk of environment. People are moving their money from risk asset, yeah, because we still have some concern about inflation. So hiking rates is not a good environment for metals. So that's why at the beginning I'm talking about on my last weekly market outlook, I'm still bearish. You can see we are in daily time frame on gold. We are still bearish from this high to this low. Okay, so we retrace one time around premium zone, we reject, and then we break again. See, we starting to see an order flow bearish going down. Okay, that's why I want to see a continuation to the downside. We still have some sort of support polarity zone right there, but we already test one time. It seems like if the dollar continue being strong, and we still have concern about what is happening in the Middle East, so there is a high chance that we continue to see the gold dropping at least around to target this low. Okay, so for me, I'm bearish. I'm bearish. So what I want to see is some sort of retracement, a discount price, even here or even around the point of control from the last month, somewhere here, will be very, very interesting to continue to sell this asset. Okay. Let's go down to the 4 hour. Yeah, on 4 hour, you can clearly see the trend is bearish. Clearly, we are bearish. So yeah, as I said, want to see some retracement on premium before continue to sell this pair. Okay, somewhere here. Okay, so that's my plan on gold. The same thing on silver. We are in 4 time frame. 4 time frame. Yeah, we want to see some retracement around there and continuation at least towards this zone. Okay, so let's go up on daily. So on my last market outlook, I mentioned I want to see some break of this level. You see, because we have some sort of structure, internal structure bullish. I want to see a break before continue lower. So it seems like we had the break last week, so we break this level. So very interesting. So for me, I want to continue this movement to the downside, but I need to see at least some sort of retracement, maybe around the yearly open or even higher, somewhere here. Will be very interesting to continue the movement to the downside. Remember, the daily structure is bearish also. It's like the gold and silver pretty most of the time move at the same direction. You see, this is the structure, the daily structure. We are bearish. We retrace around this discount zone, and then we are ready to continue the movement. You see, so yeah, bearish also on silver. So that's pretty much it. This is the end of the video. Put a like or subscribe if you like this type of content. This will help me know that you really appreciate the content. So have a good trading week. It was Josue, the part-time trader. I'm out.